All right, today we're jumping into a text that makes a pretty huge claim right from the get-go. It's called Anunnagi, The Return of the Living Facts. And it doesn't frame itself as just a theory or a story. Nope, it claims to be a living transmission from a decoded scroll. So what kind of reality does it lay out? Let's unpack it, starting with its very first, very urgent statement.
So right off the bat, the tone is set. This isn't some far-off prophecy about something that might happen in the future. It's a declaration that something is happening right now. This one line tells us that everything we're about to hear is presented as an observation of a hidden reality that's already unfolding all around us.
Okay, so what exactly is this thunder that's supposedly already here? The source calls it the first thunder. And it's not a single boom, but a whole series of what it calls activations, things that are being triggered in our world as we speak.
And this is where the perspective really flips. The text argues that the crises we see every day, sickness, hunger, homelessness, they aren't random, chaotic failures of society. You see, in this worldview, they are purposeful events. They're activations that are deliberately set off to wake humanity up from some kind of deep sleep.
So let's break down how this first thunder actually shows up. As you can see, it completely reframes these massive problems. It's not about politics or economics, it's about targeted, systemic attacks on our very being, from food being a form of programming to disease being a system of control. The whole thing is presented as a kind of vibrational warfare.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what's the point of all this pain? Is it just needless suffering? Well, according to this source, absolutely not. It's a cosmic alarm clock. The pain is the jarring, unavoidable noise designed to shock us awake and force us to see the reality we've supposedly forgotten.
But that leads to a bigger question, right? Why? Why would an activation have to be so intense, so harsh? The source claims it's because humanity is stuck right in the middle of a much, much bigger conflict. A war being fought on a battlefield that's completely invisible to us.
At the very heart of this whole thing is a simple but honestly a pretty radical idea. Reality isn't just physical matter, it's frequency. And a war is being waged not with tanks and bombs, but with resonance. It's a cosmic struggle between what the text calls divine harmonic order and these other forces that just want to create distortion and chaos.
So, like any epic story, you've got two sides to this cosmic battle. On one side, you have the Anunnaki, who are all about harmony and alignment. And on the other, you have these forces of distortion, which the text identifies as reptilians, whose whole game is control through deception. Their goals, their methods, couldn't be more different.
So how exactly do you fight a war of frequencies? It's not with what you'd think. According to this text, the weapons are vibrational. They target our reality at its source code, messing with our language, distorting light and sound, and even invading our digital world to push shallow, vibrationless thinking. It's pretty wild.
Okay, this whole idea of a cosmic war, it begs the question, who's being targeted and why? Well, the source introduces a really central concept here, a specific type of divine biology that is right at the heart of this entire conflict.
So let's get right to it, because this next term, 9-ether, is absolutely key to understanding everything else the text claims. What in the world is 9-ether?
All right, so 9-ether, according to this text, is basically the original divine blueprint for humans. It's not presented as a myth, but as a kind of biological divinity, a frequency architecture that's designed to perfectly tune a human body to cosmic intelligence. And it gets really specific, almost like a tech manual for a divine being. In this view, the human body is a piece of incredible technology. Melanin isn't just pigment, it's an antenna for cosmic data. Spiraling hair is a receptor, and a person's aura can literally become an electric field powerful enough to influence a room. And this quote, man, this just sums it all up perfectly. The idea here is that your identity has nothing to do with how you look. It's all about your vibrational function. You're not a static object. You're a living, breathing receiver and transmitter of cosmic information.
Remember that first thunder we talked about at the beginning? Well, it turns out that was just the warm-up act. According to this text, it's just the very first stage in a much bigger 7-part cosmic sequence of transformation.
And here's a really important distinction the text makes over and over. This isn't a prophecy of something that might happen. It's presented as a live feed, a sequence of vibrational shifts that are actively unfolding right now. Like 7 ancient scrolls being unrolled one by one, each revealing a new layer of our reality.
So here's the roadmap, the full 7-stage sequence, and you can see how it escalates. It starts with physical stuff like sickness, then moves to attacks on our very identity, our morality, even our planet's environment. And the final stages, they go full-on cosmic, ending with a planet-wide mass awakening. Okay, so we've got a cosmic war, a 7-stage timeline. It's a lot, right? But the source doesn't just leave us there in the chaos. It talks about the resolution, about the emergence of certain people who are here to navigate this whole shift.
The text claims that right when all this distortion and chaos hits its absolute peak, a group it calls frequency architects starts to, well, wake up. And their mission isn't to fight in the streets, it's to retune the entire energetic grid of the planet.
So who are these frequency architects? Well, they're not what you might think. They're builders who work with the unseen fabric of reality. Their tools are sound, ritual, and sacred geometry, and their power doesn't come from being loud. It comes from silent, deep, internal alignment, treating their own bodies like finely tuned divine instruments.
And this is just such a key point. The purpose of these architects isn't to grab power or take control. Their entire role is one of service and restoration, to literally rebuild the fabric of reality from the ground up, starting at the vibrational level.
So when you boil it all down, the thunders, the war, the divine biology, what's the one big idea holding it all together? It's this. In this worldview, frequency is everything. It's the fundamental source code of reality. And everything we see and experience is just a manifestation of whatever frequency is dominant. And that leaves us with the final, provocative question the text poses. And really, it's a question for all of us. If our reality, our very fate, is determined by frequency, then the most important choice we have, maybe the only choice we have, is what vibration we choose to send out into the world.